And we're live with the men's Epee final. Match has already begun between Chris Hay on the left, Lucas Farlam on the right. Straight into this match. Chris Hay, first point. Emma Halling once again as our referee. Carl Prophet and Ridley Buckeridge at VAR if needed. Once again, this is the men's Epee final, and that is a second point. Cheeky little foot hit from Chris Hay against Lucas Farlam. Chris Hay again, similar to the semi-final, taking that early lead. And Lucas Farlam with his first point of the day of the final. And that is the third point for Chris Hay, taking him up to 3. Now retaining that 2-point lead. Seems to be a slight issue with the box, quickly resolved. And that's another point for Chris Hay, taking him up to 4 now. Some fantastic fencing on display so far. And that's another one from Chris Hay, who has been dominating today in the men's Epee. The question is, can Lucas Farlam mount a comeback? Ooh, that was a very good parry riposte by Hay, taking him to 6. 5-point lead. This is looking very similar to the semi-final Hay had. Very much seems like he's keen to finish this in the first period once again. But that's another point. Now a 6-point lead. Farlam struggling to maintain a foothold in this match. But that is a point to Farlam, his second point of the match, as he claws back some of that lead against their dominant Hay today. And that's a double point. Both fencers going up by 1. Still a 5-point gap. 1 minute 15 on the timer for the first period. Chris Hay definitely showing a pattern of liking these matches to be over early, but that's a point for Lucas Farlam. Still a minute left. Minute 9 to be precise of this first period. But Chris Hay showing no signs of slowing down. Wonderful there from Hay, taking his 9th point. Now just under a minute on the clock. Cheeky point there from Lucas Farlam, taking his 5th of the match. point for Chris Hay, taking him to 11. 30 seconds on the clock. Very commanding lead from the left. And misses the flick there from Hay as Farlam takes a point, closing that gap ever so slightly. Again, wonderful hit there from Lucas Farlam, who's closing that gap. Now only 4 points between them, with 3 seconds, or 3.75 seconds on the clock. I have to imagine this is going to go straight to break, which it will. And we go into the break before the second period. Still so much time left. A whole 6 minutes. And yet we are at 11-7. Chris Hay, who has been dominating this competition, currently 4 points in the lead. Can Lucas Farlam bring it back? Or will he be relegated to that silver position in today's final? Whilst we're here and whilst we're waiting for the match to restart, just a few more thank yous for everyone who's worked today for the Exeter Open. A thank you to Molly, who has been our paramedic. Thankfully not had too much to do today, not too many injuries, but certainly much appreciated that she's here. Big thank you to our referees who have helped us with the epee, the foil and the sabre today, including some of them that I've mentioned already, including our current referees in both VAR and on the piste. And also a thank you to Arlen Vese, who of course organised this event and continues to give his service to this club and to this competition. But the match restarts now. Chris Hay in the lead. But that's a counter-attack from Lucas Farlam to take him to 8. Now only 3 points separating the two men. I must say, Lucas Farlam definitely tends to prefer to fight from his own back line. This match, vast majority of it, has been spent on that right side of the piste. Chris Hay pushing nice and slowly, but that's a wonderful flick on the wrist there to take him to 12. And that's another point for Chris Hay, re-establishing that lead. Now only 2 points away from that gold medal. Can Lucas Farlam bring it back? And that's another point secured for Lucas Farlam. Now only 4 points between him and that tied position. Entirely possible that this match ends in the second period this time. Certainly with the pace we're currently moving at. Large melee there. And seems as though the referee's going to VAR for that one. Perhaps just to check her decision. Perhaps to check if Lucas Farlam went off the back. Very quick decision. Emma Halling now returning to the piste. Oh, no, hold on. Going back to VAR. Okay. Seems certain this time. Going back to the piste to make a decision. And we continue. Point goes to Lucas Farlam. But that's another point for Lucas Farlam, who's closed that gap to 2. This is shaping up to be a very interesting final. Chris Hayes certainly showing no sign of slowing down. Lucas Farlam again on that end. And that's another point. 13 to 12. And things get very tense now. Everyone very much leaning in with bated breath for this match. And that's a wonderful point there from Chris Hay, who is now 1 point away from that gold. 14-12 now. And that's a double point to conclude our final. Chris Hay taking the gold. Lucas Farlam with an incredible 13 points against him. Commiserations to him. A very well deserved second place. But Chris Hay, our Exeter Open men's mixed epee champion. Fantastic job from Hay, who has been dominant for the entire competition. So that's all from us today for day 1 of the Exeter Open. Thank you everyone for watching, and tune in tomorrow to see the semi-finals and finals for the men's sabre, the women's epee, and the men's foil. Until then, I've been Jack Landale. Thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow.